Hi, I'm Erik Linask. Welcome again to this edition of TMC Newsroom on the Road here in Dallas, Texas, talking with David Potter from Source. David, thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome. Pleasure to be here.
So, I want to get into what Source is doing now, but Source has been around since, I think you said 1971. So let's start there. Let's start with a little bit of what you've done in the past before we work our way to what you're doing now.
Well, back in medieval times, when we had the phone company, when I was at SMU, I used to buy pay phones for about $3 a piece that the phone company would throw away because they didn't want to make money off them, you see. It had a rate base. And I'd sell them to rebuilders for $25 a piece. And I paid for a lot of my tuition that way at SMU. And even central offices. And over the years now, you can see that the phone companies have regulations, and it's probably getting pretty difficult for them now because they had the supply house over here that would sell them the products and then sell it to everybody else, but they had their guaranteed rate of return here, and they had a return over here, and we had long distance. And going back, all the MCI, McGowan, and everybody at MCI had a reseller license they gave me once. Gave it to some other guys in Dallas. Started a company called US Tel. Now it's called Sprint.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting when you go back 30 some odd years and see how it was regulated and all the steps we've gone through, and now you're looking at a marketplace that has a lot of confusion, I think, in it because of the networking, the different networks you can have, and as they unfold now. I think that most of the telephone companies are trying to get to where they put out, they got your TV, we get direct TV now, and then they have these other packages. They're more like an appliance store. But today, it's different, and voice over IP, etc. It's making a difference. But today, Source is a company which shifted gears because what we do is we deploy and support major enterprise companies. I mean, nationwide, we have a whole network of service guys that support us too on site. And we're Platinum Avaya. We also have Cisco. But our main job is to manage services for major enterprises because it's very difficult to find the technical skills to build and manage the systems. And it wasn't as good as selling used payphones, but required more people, more investment. So we have a nationwide network of individuals that are on call 7/24, and we have a NOC in London, which supports British Telecom. We have one over here in Tampa, and basically, by having the NOCs, we support the enterprise 7/24 because we're always monitoring. We can tell what's wrong. We can go inside and fix things, that sort of thing.
So, there's been a lot of interest and a lot of growth in the managed services market. Is it a question of technical capability, or is it a question of cost savings for the enterprise? I mean, certainly there's a combination of both involved, but which?
It's highly technical, requires lots of training. We're even working with Microsoft now, but we're not doing any hardware. We're just doing the analytical stuff that's necessary. It's much more complicated than the old days. We don't have rotary dial anymore. We have all these things that happen in very sensitive networks. Plus, we have many applications that we do because it's all computerized. So what we find out is, like right now, there's a major trend. Avaya bought out Nortel. Okay, boy, but if you look back, all the Bell companies, when we had this breakup, went to Nortel.
Mm-hmm.
So here's an opportunity of transition. We support both sides. But as we go forward with this, now, I remember this guy named Harry Newton, and he used to always say we were going to have voice and data. Well, we have it now. With Microsoft, with that solution, they've got voice and the data, and we're working with them. That's usually, though, a major user application more so than the smaller ones. And So what we've done is we've taken a position in the enterprise with major companies nationwide, and we have our technicians in the field we have set up that we have under contract, and we manage all this by monitoring the systems and by having people to dispatch when we need to. Having set that up, now we're going to a next phase, which is called the SM, small business support, or I guess small managed services, could be that. Anyway, we have we found this product that's really incredible. It's a box, it's about this big, runs on 12 volts DC. It's assembled by Avnet, which is sort of like what they do, I guess, down at Dell. They have somebody else build the equipment for them. And we can take this box and deploy it in several sizes. And so when you get it, you know, you've got Wi-Fi in it. You've got your voice, and we use a lot of the newer telephones now for that. And then we have all your email type stuff, you know? Would you like getting your voicemails on your email?
Sure.
Well, we do that. Would you like getting your faxes on the emails?
Sure.
We do that. It's in this box. It's 12 volts TC. If you talk to somebody like Cushman Wakefield, you know, they look at it, well, you know, you have to have 2 trucks roll. Well, no, not anymore. We have a call center that supports these systems. We have people that can go on site anytime, but we also monitor them just like the big systems. But the really fun part about it is when we deploy them all ready to be installed. You just have to touch the network, the power, and the wiring, because that has to pre-exist. It's the only thing that gets in the way of an install. And the user's up and running, and from then on, there's not much to do unless something goes wrong. And if they do, we have a call center. It's called Connected 724, which will take the call. And then we will dispatch those people in the field that we work with to take care of any problems. But they really don't break very often. This is a good thing.
Sure is. How big is the opportunity there for you now, with the existing Nortel customer base as things transition over to Avaya?
Well, we kind of look at Cisco and IP Office a little bit more because that's more of a comparable product. They're more expensive, but they don't have any of your IT. I've got a dentist up the road here, and he's got a Merlin system. I'm going to leave it in. Just put the box in. And then that's going to save his phone bill $450 a month because he has the old copper lines going into the Merlin. We're going to kind of bring him through it. It's kind of like a router, of course. They also use AOL, and I said, can you spell HIPAA? Yeah, he learned how. Because we can use the same system to take over all his email applications. We can put an ACD on it if you want, because it goes in sizes where we kind of go, like maybe the small end, it goes up to about 70, we can expand it to. And we go to 100. When we go to the 100 station and 300 station capacity boxes, then we have to think about Wi-Fi is going to have to be outside because you're covering a bigger area. So now we have these systems that we're developing and deploying, but usually we're in the smaller end because the small business, it's difficult. I mean, some of the stuff that we were talking with some of the major phone companies, but it's not economical for them to do it. So now you can actually go and work with them and actually make commissions off the network. That kind of fun.
That is neat. Now, talk to me a little bit about your partnership with a company called G-Tech.
Well, G-Tech is a very interesting company. And so is their local rep, who we got to know. Years ago, actually, I built phones in Singapore, for Contel.
That was before you started taking them off the walls.
Well, that was a long time after that. But I did it for Contel because everyone wanted a cheaper phone. at that time. But basically, I think GTech is very good because it combines two things. One's their technical expertise, which is very good, and the fact that I'm in this business over here and I don't really care about Cisco that much, or Polycom. They're very expensive. I wonder why. But so now I have an alternative, but a very good alternative, because it gives me the ability to do the newer SIP type applications. And they are very good. They have very good technical capability. So it's a very good match, because now we can come across, we can provide the entree into the everybody from Microsoft on down. We are approved to VIA and Nortel, and that'll have a dwindling act. But basically, I think that it's a good position because, you know, it gives us more of a full capability of delivering the whole system rather than just going and buying phones. And it's also good to know the phones. We do repair on phones. We do it for all the major phone companies, for Verizon and on their Nortel phones and people like that for years. But so we were like the largest traders of phone equipment before, sort of like Comdisco was in computers. Ponticus and I were good friends. But that all came apart. The phone industry being deregulated in itself has caused a lot of concern which way we're going. But I think right now, having taken that first step into the enterprise and now into the small to medium business, SMB, and having this appliance type product, I think it'll work. I've noted that there are other people with that product, but I haven't seen many of them out there. But I know that having a product that you can deploy and support and make it very simple, you don't have to do a lot of training in the field.
Well, yes, you know, like you said, there are some other similar products out there, but the market is really moving more and more, and I think pretty quickly to a managed services model. So if you're able to provide, like you say, the complete system, back it up with the services and support, that's what today's businesses are looking for. We've been talking here in this edition of TMC Newsroom on the Road with David Potter from Source. David, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome.